Hey guys, and welcome to the English overview. So if you just watched our little ACT overview video, you already know a little bit about the timing, but I just wanted to go over it. So timing for the English exam, you have 45 minutes, 75 questions, and 5 passages. That means that per passage, you're going to be able to spend about 9 minutes. Now the way that this test is going to work out is that it's going to be passage based. So you're going to see 5 passages, and as you start to read them, you'll notice that some things are underlined. So whenever there's something underlined, you're looking for if there's an error in that part of the sentence or not. There's also questions, which we'll get into in more depth when we actually go into the individual videos for this, but there's going to be questions also that are going to ask you to rearrange paragraphs, rearrange sentences, or to add or delete information. So basically those go into 2 separate categories. Your 2 categories are usage and mechanics and rhetorical skills/style. So roughly there's going to be about 50% of both of them on the test. Usage and mechanics is going to be about 53%, so a little more than half, and rhetorical style and skills is going to be about 47% of the questions. Usage and mechanics, that's things like punctuation, it's things like run-ons, idioms, verb tenses, etc. Basically, it's all the things that if you were correcting your own work, you would notice were small grammatical errors. Rhetorical skills and style are going to cover things that are more something wrong with the style of the writing, aka adding or deleting something that doesn't quite fit in with the rest of the tone, and also things like rearranging sentences so that they're in a better order, organizing paragraphs so that they make more sense. In the videos that follow this one, we'll go ahead and go over usage and mechanics and also rhetorical skills and style. And I'll break it down into each different type of error so that we can learn what the error is and how you watch out for it and how you fix it. The basic idea for this entire test, though, is to be a good editor. You want to look out for grammar problems and also make sure that the style stays consistent within the piece. Basically, we all know someone who always corrects everybody's grammar and drives us all completely insane. Your job is to be that person. Obviously not in your real life, please don't do that, people won't like it, but when you're reading through these passages, take a critical eye to them. Make sure that you're honing in on what is wrong and also what is right in a passage. Now, with that, you also have to know what kinds of things you don't have to worry about. You never have to worry about spelling, vocab words, or identifying parts of speech. So if you think the problem is that a word is spelled wrong, you want to double check that it's not a diction error, which means that it's not the word is spelled wrong, it's that they've put in a word that means something else that looks very similar. Alright, and finally, let's just go over how you're going to deal with passages in general. First off, since they're always going to be in passages, you read until you think that you can answer the first question. Next, you're going to identify the issue, aka what is wrong with this sentence or what is wrong with this underlined portion. Next thing you're going to do is go ahead and look at the answers and eliminate any answers that don't fix the issue. So if there's something there that looks nice but it doesn't actually identify doesn't actually address what you thought was wrong, you probably are getting tricked in some way. So you want to look through things and try to see, okay, I thought that this was a run-on. What are the ways to fix a run-on? Do these answers actually encompass those ways or not? Now let's say that you did have a run-on, for instance, and one of the answers seemed to fix it with a fanboys, and one of it seemed to fix it with a semicolon. Okay, that's totally fine. Next step, if you still have a couple answers, is you can plug them into the actual sentence and see how they sound. A lot of times if you just trust your ear, you're going to be able to hear that there's a problem, even if you might not technically know what that problem is. And once you've dealt with that, you can go ahead and select an answer and then keep reading until you think you can answer the next question. A question I get all the time is, should you read the entire passage? And the answer is yes. And the reason for that we'll get into not in the next video, but the one after that, there are questions that are going to ask you about the passage as a whole, and if you haven't read everything, then you're not going to have a good sense of how to answer those. That said, this isn't like the reading test where you're going to mark down things and take notes and make sure that you're paying extremely close attention to everything. You can read fairly quickly on the English part of the test, and in fact you kind of have to, given that you have 75 questions to get through in only 45 minutes time. Okay guys, up next we're going to go ahead and start going over some specific grammatical problems that you can encounter on the ACT. Thanks!